Tonight I am smoking some ribs back here on the smoker. I've got a slab of spare ribs. It's been going probably on 3 hours now, and I'm going for 4. So I'm going to pull them here in a minute too and kind of wrap them in some foil. They're about as colored as I would like for them to be. To accompany that, I'm making some cowboy beans. It's a recipe that was given to me by Larray out at Royal Italian Outfitters several years back ago when I went to Montana. It's very similar in style to my mom's picnic beans. Different ingredients for the most part, but similar concept. Ground beef, can of beans, onions, peppers, that kind of thing. Different seasonings though, but it should be a good accompaniment for the ribs. So I'm not quite ready to start this yet, but soon we'll be underway. For this one. Okay, today I'm using my little 10-inch shallow. I'm cutting the recipe down quite a bit, and partially because there's some confusion. The recipe just calls for a big can of pork and beans. So I grabbed the biggest can that they had in the store, which is 28 ounces. It also then calls for 2 pounds of ground beef and 3 cans of tomatoes, which I thought was a lot for a 28 ounce can of beans. So I'm thinking that big can was probably meant for a bigger can than I have. So I am reducing it down to 1 pound of ground beef, the 128 ounce can of beans, and currently 1 can of tomatoes, but I might add a second. And it calls for just regular old pork and beans. So that's what we're doing. I had a really good fire going earlier, but I'm trying to let my neighbor get a lot of his grass cut so we don't have to listen to that as much, and that's not working out for me. And then my fire went out. So I've got some new wood on there for that, which is fine because I got to fry up the hamburger anyhow, so the flamey part will be just fine. So we're going to go ahead and start getting the oven heated up. I had this problem yesterday, was trying to get, I know it's not meant for it, so trying to get the little legs to fit in the holes, and it's not quite working out. But it was makeshift stuff. It's doing pretty good. So I'm going to let that sit there for a few minutes, heat up. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there, and we're going to saute the onions, peppers, and celery. About maybe the third of the way, halfway, and then add the ground beef. And I tell you, I love that smell. Open up the little cooler and, spider. Oh yeah, of course. And I hated to do that. I didn't want to scratch up the pan, but okay, anyhow. Got my onion, celery, including the tops, and a bell pepper. It was a small one. Oops. And we're just going to saute this down just a... Ooh, right in the smoke. Again, right in the smoke. And of course it's going to move. Yeah, so we'll saute this for just a couple minutes. And then add our ground beef after this kind of sautés down a few. Alright, let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, I think that's good enough to add the ground beef. The little spatula is working out pretty good for me. So I've got a pound of ground chuck. I'm going to put in real fast. I'm going to try to get to that message because it's just been a bad day all the way around for us. Transmission went out on my car. My wife's got a tire that's leaking air, and this is how I found out the transmission's gone out on my car. Stepdaughter has some issues that she's dealing with too. It's just bad. So likely going to want to check that message real fast. But okay, so We are going to cook this beef down until it's no longer pink. And add the beans and the tomatoes after that. I am going to add some salt and pepper here in a second once I get it broke up a little bit better. Alright, some salt. You know the story on that. Pepper, which won't come out. You know what? Yeah, it's better. I'm not very patient today. Alright, and we'll come back in just a few minutes as that cooks down. So, go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. I've got a can of petite diced tomatoes. It really calls for 3 cans of stewed tomatoes, but I'm going with the petite diced. It's garlic, olive oil, and so forth in it. And as we talked about earlier, I've got a 28, I don't know why I can't talk today, 28 ounce can of pork and beans. So we're going to add that. There we go. Really, there's just a few ingredients. It's not a lot of stuff. Okay, so we'll mix all this together, bring it up to temperature, pull them wood coals off the bottom, and put it on top of the lid. And we'll be making cowboy beans. Okay, now let that sit there for a second. Not a lot, but put a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. No, I'm not. I'm going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And 3/4 teaspoons of paprika. Stir all this, ooh, got water. Stir all this back together. And then put the lid on it. Tell you, it's pretty looking. Okay, I'm going to let that kind of come up to like a little baby boil. Put the lid on it, and then put some top heat on it, and then we'll bake it for 1/2 hour. And then about the same time, I'll probably pull the ribs and let them rest for a few minutes. But dinner is about ready. Okay, quarter after 5, and I'm gonna let that cook for half an hour. So be quarter to 6, in between, a couple turns and stuff, but there's plenty enough coals there to do the job, and we'll get back with you here in a few minutes. Okay, it has been, let me put this right here for a second too. It has been right at a half an hour. I just went ahead and let everything die out because all we're really doing is heating things up. So try not to put too much on the edge here. And I swear he has great timing because every time I turn on the camera, he turns on the lawnmower. But here we go. Ooh, look at them little bad boys. They are pretty. Wow. Yeah, those are really nice looking. So, again, like yesterday, I am not prepared for plating anything. So I will come back to you in just a second. But these are cowboy beans from recipe shared with me from Royal Tine Outfitters out of Montana. Looking forward to giving them a try. Okay, here we go. Got some of my spare ribs, and then the cowboy beans. And I took a little bitty sample of each, and they wonderful. I can tell you that. But great. If it's not the lawnmower, then it's the air conditioning. I apologize about all the noises. I'm really close to being done filming out here at my house. So let me show you what we got going on. So there is everything. Isn't that pretty? Those are pretty beans, aren't they? But, Cody, Lorraine, I want to thank you guys both for sharing this recipe with me. Let's see how we did. All right. And those are really, really good. Like I said, it's very similar to my mom's picnic beans, and these flavors are great. Who would have thought a can of just regular pork and beans could taste so good? Really, because it's my least favorite of the canned beans, but that's really good. That you don't really notice the pork and bean part of it, and the tomatoes, they add a nice little saucy sort of taste to it. The ground beef and the onions and celery, it's a really good marriage of flavors. I'm really enjoying it. So sorry, it's just been a bad day as far as bad news and stuff goes. But so if I seem a little snarky, I apologize up front. Well, not up front, but I apologize for it. But it's just been a bad day. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. And again, Cody, Lorraine, I want to thank you guys for sharing this recipe with me. It's really, really good stuff. Thank you. Okay, so we'll see you again next time.